If you want to make a fab poster background like this and you want to make it flexible so you could change it in just moments, you're in the right place. And that would be here in the Work Smarter Not Harder dojo with me, Tony Harmer, aka the Design Ninja. Alright, so here we are in InDesign and I've got a new A3 document here, although your document size doesn't really matter. Whatever works for you, just modify the settings that I use to meet your own needs. All right, so what I'm going to do first of all here in my layers panel is rename this layer to BG, just here for background. Then I'm going to tap M to get the rectangle shape tool. I'm going to move up to the top left-hand corner here and then click and drag down to the bottom right so that I'm filling the entire area with that shape. Now the default in InDesign is no fill and a black stroke. I'm going to swap those over by holding down the Shift key and tapping X to swap the fill and stroke over. I'll then go ahead and change the color here. I think nice bright magenta is going to work very well for this. And then I'll lock that layer. Next, I'll go ahead and add a new layer and I'll rename this layer headline like so. And for the purpose of visibility, because we're working on magenta, I'll change the layer color here to green so we can all see what I'm doing. Next, I'll tap T to get my type tool and drag a frame across like so. Zoom in on that just a little bit so it's easier for you to see. And actually I can close the layers panel too. So I'm going to go ahead and just type here virtual reality like so. And then with my cursor in that text, I'm going to create a new paragraph style. Now in more recent versions, you can do this in the properties panel on the right hand side here. But if you're using the control strip in an older version, then you'll need to use the paragraph controls at the top here. So to get this started, what I'm going to do is come across to the plus icon here and click for a new paragraph style. I'll call this one headline, like so, and hit return to apply that. And then I'll go down to this small icon. This is actually called a pilcrow, and I'll click on that and access the style options. So I can confirm here that I'm in that style and then it's based on no paragraph style, which is ideal. That's exactly what you want. You don't want to base it on basic paragraph because if it goes to a different machine and the basic paragraph definition is different, it could throw out your entire design. Now just having a quick check as well that preview is on so we can see what we're doing. We can go ahead and get working on the basic character formats. Now, I've got a font in mind here, which is called Bungee, but you can use whatever you need to do yours. And I'm going to change the size here. Let's go and bring this up. So all I've done here is clicked in this field. I'm holding down the Shift key and using my up arrow until I get pretty close. I think that's not too far off. There, and now I've gone too far, so I'll use just my down arrow with no key held down to change that size. And I think that's pretty good at 78 points just there. I don't need to worry about the leading or interlinear space here because this is just going to be a single line. And if you're using a font that has upper and lowercase characters and you want them all to be uppercase, you could always change that here to all caps. Okay, let's move on to the next things that we need to work with here. We can go to indents and spacing. I'm going to set this to center aligned like so. And then I'm going to come down here to character color. So I've got two boxes. The one on top at the moment is the fill and the one underneath is the stroke. I'm actually going to turn the fill off for this one. Then click on the stroke and I'll make that black. And I think I'll increase the weight here to 2 points. Of course, you mix as you want for your particular poster. Okay, that's good. That's pretty much the way I want it. No other changes to make just here. So I'll hit OK, and that style is applied. Now I am going to drag across all of the characters here. You don't need to do that when you're doing a paragraph style, but a character style you do. So I'm going to click now on character styles just here. If you're using the control strip, then you can use Command or Control Option 7 to switch between those two things to get to the character options like so. But here in the Properties panel, it's just a click between those two. So I'll add a new character style here, and I'll call this one Solid Fill, there, like so, and hit Return to apply it. And then once more, go down to the icon underneath and choose Style Options. Just checking that Solid Fill is on just here. I'm going to turn on Preview so I can see it. Based on None is all good. I'll go to Character Color here. And what I'm going to do is just with the fill, I'm going to choose Paper. There, like so, although you could choose any other color, of course. This is just an override to the paragraph style, and you'll see why I'm using that in a moment. So I'll hit OK. That's all set. And now what I'm going to do is just remove that character style for a moment. So I'll just go to None here like that. Okay, go back to the selection tool here. And now what we can do is go ahead and use the icon to fit the frame to the content. Now, if you're not seeing the control strip and you're not seeing the option available in the Properties panel, you can also find that in the Objects menu as well. You can go for fitting just here and fit frame to content there, like so. Perfect. I'm going to zoom out so I can see the whole document. So Command 0 just there, like so. And I'm going to drag this down to the bottom of the margins just here. Now I've got one final step to do before we start making the main part of the poster. And that's to turn this text into a text variable. To create the text variable, I'm going to go up to the Type menu, come down to Text Variables and choose Define. And from the list on the right-hand side, I'm going to choose New. And from the type, we'll do Custom Text. We'll give it the name My Heading, just here, like so. All right, you can call it whatever you want. It really doesn't matter in there as long as you can find it. And then in the text field underneath, I'm going to type Virtual Reality, there, like so. All done. And hit OK. You can then tap Done on the Text Variables panel. Go ahead now and double click on the text at the bottom here, and then click 1, 2, 3 times to select that whole line. Go up to the Type menu, come down to Text Variables, and choose Insert Variable, My Heading. Now, just so you know, you can also do that with a right click. You'll find Insert Variable is available just there, and we'll use that in just a little while. I'm just going to tap Escape to make that go away. All right, now I'm going to tap Escape again to leave this particular text frame, and then I'm going to go up to the Edit menu and choose Step and Repeat. So from here, what we're going to do is change the number of copies. Now I'm going to create something crazy here. So I'm going to go for maybe 42 copies. Okay. And I'll turn on Preview. And it's just telling me that it can't go beyond the bounds of the pasteboard. So I'll start smaller with 10 copies. There, like so, and turn on Preview. And I should start to see copies. Now at the moment, they are copying horizontally as well. So I'll just clear that and enter 0 in there. So just type 0, then come across to the vertical field here. And now we can just change the interval. So change that to whatever you want. Okay, so I'm, for example, going to make this maybe -9 or 10, I think. You can model that as you want. Then go up to the count field and start to increment that. You can do it quicker by holding down the Shift key, and you'll see it will jump up there in units of 5. And when you get close to the top, or you go too far, as I've done, you can just step that off just using the up and down arrow keys as desired. Once you're happy with that, hit OK, and you will have created a whole bunch of copies of the original. Select the one on the top, which should be pretty easy. Go to your character styles, and from there, choose solid fill. So now you'll see you've got that whole solid fill on the top and all of the lined copies underneath. You can now use the Select All command, so that's Command A or Control A on Windows, and group these together, Command G or Control G. Now what we're going to do is fade these out as they go down. And to do that, we're going to use the Gradient Feather tool, which you can access using the shortcut Shift G. Once you've got that, go up towards the top here. So I'm going to go just underneath the first copy from the top and drag downwards. I'm going to hold down Shift so that I constrain the angle. I'll go just beyond the bottom just a little bit and then release. And now you can see this is gradated nicely. If you want to edit that, you can go to the control strip or to the properties panel and look for the FX icon. On the control strip, you'd have to click and choose that option just there in the list. In the properties panel, you can simply click on Gradient Feather there as a link. And this is where you can change your gradient. So I'm going to change the blend point just here and step that off a little bit. If you turn preview on, you can actually see what you're doing. There you go. And you can see the effect that that has. You can change that if you want. If you want to do something crazy like go radial on it, then go ahead and do that. And you can change the location of that as well to blend that out. So whichever you like, but I'll change mine back to linear just here and just settle that blend like so and hit OK. All right, so now what we can do is we can make a modification, and we actually don't even need to select that type. We can simply go to the type menu, come down to text variables and choose define. Then if we go ahead and go to our heading here, we can tap edit and then change that. So I'm going to change this for gradual reality like so and hit OK. Now that's changed that quite a bit, and actually there's not that much of a gap just there. So what I'm going to do is tap done. I can then go to my paragraph styles, of course. And if I go ahead and double click to select any piece of text in there and just click in it, go to paragraph styles, headline, and then change that with style options. I could go ahead and modify the size here. So I'm going to bring that down a bit in size like so. And then I'm going to increase the tracking. So I've got a bit more gap between the text, but you can model whatever you want to change in there, especially if your new text doesn't fit. And there you are. That's how you can create a quick, interesting background like that using text variables and paragraph and character styles in moments. There we are. That's it for now. I'll see you next time here in the Work Smarter, Not Harder dojo. See ya.